here we are on Cricbuzz Live far earlier than we expected to. Here we were all getting set for a little episode of Cricbuzz Combox, getting to a perspective at the 35th over and then try and see where we were with our wonderful pre-match predictions of how far above 300 would New Zealand get. Do we even talk about that?
I think we should divide by 2.
That was half. Well, it was really, I mean, you've got to give full credit to India. I mean, forget 300 plus. Even if you assume that India bowled well, you're still thinking maybe 240, 250, put something on the board. But 157 all out, 12 overs still to bat.
I'm going to say something that Zach will like very much. Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav, 6 for 82 between them, but they could do that because of that spell from Shami at the start. Shami, the new ball, was fantastic.
Absolutely, I think that new ball is so crucial, and we've seen in Australia as well. You know, they've been ticking that box very nicely. That first power play, taking those 2 wickets. Middle overs, they've been partnerships. In Australia series also, you've seen those 350-run partnership, which was setting the platform to get to that total, which is close to 300. But today, Shami set the tone, and after that, Kuldeep and Chahal both have been exceptional. I think it was
wickets, but you just saw that graphic. He bowled 6 overs, right? Shami, there's 36 legal deliveries, 28 dot balls, which is also showing control.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, where did Shami get his wickets? Guptill bowled. Where are we? He got
Munro was bowled.
Guptill bowled. Munro bowled and 1 leg before. So yeah. he's done it all bowling straight.
And one of the factors we talked about was how India would use their 5th bowler, how effective would the 5th bowler be, Vijay Shankar in these conditions, Kedar Jadhav. Well, the good news for India at least here is that they didn't even need to use the 5th bowler.
Effectively. Kedar got 1 wicket, but effectively...
Or use him out, rather bowl him out.
We don't know enough about Vijay Shankar yet because you've seen him in 2 games now. In both games, he came in after the new ball and done really well. So it was easy to bowl those overs.
Yeah, and that again, once again, we have to talk about importance of setting that tone in the first 10 overs. You know, and that's something which bowling unit has been doing consistently. So that really sets the tone for that second power play. So batsmen you're playing against had to play really well through that middle phase, you know, to set that platform. Today, apart from Kane Williams and for a short while, you know, Ross Taylor looked threatening. I think, you know, that partnership was crucial, but Chahal broke that partnership. And then after that, it was always going to be difficult. You know, the onus was on Kane Williamson really to go right through the innings. And once his wicket was taken, it was going to be a smooth ride for the likes of Kuldeep, because the variations which Kuldeep has at that stage for low order batting to deal with him is always going to be very difficult.
Yeah, obviously Kuldeep Yadav, I mean, we look at those figures in history, you look back and say, oh, the pick of the bowlers very easily. You tend to do that when you see a player having taken the highest number of wickets, but Mohammad Shami, the standout, set the platform, and Kuldeep Yadav just had to clean up the tail at the end.
Also the 2 that Chahal took, look how he got those. He got those both cotton bowled. That means he's done both in the air, right? If you got cotton bowled, it means largely you've done them in the air. And he was bowling 70, 80, 81, 80, 81. He's bowling really slowly and tossing it up.
And I think the big example of that, I think, was Ross Taylor. Because he really, almost the ball just stopped, and it had nothing to do with stopping in the pitch. It was the fact that he had bowled it so slow that Taylor just didn't know what to do with his shot.
I mean, this has just been an ad for 2 wrist spinners in the middle overs, right? There's a commercial. They've just put themselves in an ad saying you need 2 wrist spinners in the middle overs.
And an ad that I think they would have liked to have played out in hindsight way back in the England series, because I remember on Cricbuzz Live talking about it a lot, that shouldn't India be playing both their wrist spinners? Why? If you have both, if they're good enough, why shouldn't both play?
Because neither of them bats, no.
Yeah.
Neither of them bats, so they have to have a batsman if Pandya is not available. So I think this was an experiment actually to see if you can have Chahal 6, Vijay Shankar 7, because Vijay Shankar is perfectly capable of batting 6 as well. But if they can get those 10 overs out of those 2, then you can still play the 2 wrist spinners. Though what happens when Bumrah comes back? So it's a nice problem to have.
But you're right. I mean, the good point Harsha makes about the batting. In this case, it doesn't really matter, because if you've got the opposition now all out for 157, you're not worried about who else is going to bat down the order. But you're going to be in a situation where you're chasing down 320, 330, and that's when that extra batsman, that extra bowler who bats, will make a difference.
I think that's something which decides the balance of the team. You know, so you when you're going in with deciding on playing 11, you know, you want to cover all the bases, and that's something which is always a debate before you go into match. This is exceptional situation. You're not going to have days like this often. So that's something which as a team management you'll have to take into consideration, and that's why the all-rounder slot comes into to play. So looking at the World Cup and what kind of bowling unit one should have, I would say that if you have three good seamers in those conditions, it's always going to be handy. Now, whether you want to back your batting and saying that okay, Kuldeep and Chahal can create that impact in the middle overs, and wickets are important, and if they're taking wickets consistently, then you can afford to take that chance. You can afford to take that chance of leaving one batsman out, backing your 5 batsmen. You've seen it in test matches also that in between there was a phase when Indian team decided to go in with 5 bowlers. Just to have that faith in those 5 batsmen and backing your 5 bowlers, because bowlers win you matches. So that's something about how you're going to look at creating that kind of balance. Kedar Jadhav for sure provides that balance. If you're looking at adding that spin option as well. Vijay Shankar or Hardik Pandya for that matter, I would say you're not sure of getting those 10 overs out. So you can actually decide that okay, these are my 5 bowlers are going to give me a good performance. Create that scenario where I'm always able to rotate those bowlers in the middle overs as well, and stack up my 50 overs in a more aggressive manner where I'm always thinking of taking wickets. So there are going to be days when you don't pick up those first 2 wickets in that 10 overs. Even in that scenario you've seen in the past, especially in South Africa, where you had decent starts, but Kuldeep and Chahal changed the scenario in the middle overs. So that's something which will be a debate for sure going forward.
It's a delicious thought. If you can play Bhuvi, Bumrah, Shami, Kuldeep and Chahal, it means Bhuvi has to bat at 7. And there's not much after that. But if your bowlers are taking wickets, you're taking 30-40 runs off the scorecard, which is probably what your number 7 would have made.
Also, you are having an interesting point where you're talking about Kuldeep Yadav throughout the course of a bilateral series, where his performance maybe goes down slightly, which could be attributed to the opposition starting to read him better and better. Now, if you look at a World Cup scenario, every country is going to play India once. So that's the only time you have to read Kuldeep Yadav.
We've seen that in England, we saw that in Australia as well, that as they play him again and again and again, they start playing him better in limited overs cricket. But the World Cup, you're absolutely right, you only play East team once. So you're not playing in England 6 times, you're not playing New Zealand 5 times, you're playing East team only once.
So looking now at the New Zealand point of view, Kane Williamson, yes, we often talk about someone who comes out after a break and starts firing, and you say, well, what did he eat during that break? I'm wondering what they had during the drinks break for Kane Williamson, because he had a rare brain fade, because he was playing so well. He needed to bat the 50 overs. He knew there was not much at the other end. First ball after drinks, he went after uncharacteristic.
And wasn't caught on the boundary. He was still caught about 5 yards inside.
Inside
it's a 72-meter boundary. So that means he's hit that ball about 65 meters. That's it. Today, 65 meters, nobody hit 65 meters. They hit big ones.
Yep, and again, the lower order that did so well against New Zealand, Bracewell against Sri Lanka rather, just didn't turn up here.
Zach,
obviously,
is this the wrist spin effect? I mean, I'm not saying that because Zach was sort of a lower order batsman. No,
it has to be. Let me endorse that. Yes, yeah. I mean, you have to give credit to the quality of the wrist spin which we have. And with this kind of quality, any lower order batting will be struggling against. So that's why the important factor was those middle overs. If there was a partnership, and Kane Williamson was always going to be a key factor as far as New Zealand has concerned, and he's played a brilliant innings. He's played his part. What he was lacking was the support from the other end. And even that uncharacteristic shot which you saw to get him out also was result of what was happening at the other end. He felt that 150, 170 or 200 is also not going to be enough on this track against this batting lineup. So that's why he was looking to take that charge, because he's still thinking of that 260, 270 mark, where he has something to play with.
He was 7th out. That just proves
he
what
was
Zach is
dropped
saying.
by Kedar Jadhav. We don't want to harp too much on that. Couple of dropped catches, simple one by Shikhar Dhawan as well. Wasn't expensive in the end. The one review that they lost again wasn't expensive, as was Martin Guptill's possible LBW early on. Couple of balls later, Shami
We
cleaned
never
him
got
up.
to see. We never got to see because the wickets kept falling. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So with wickets having fallen there, but again, India don't want to read too much into this yet, because it's a run chase that should ideally be a formality. But I think it's a good time to quickly touch upon Virat Kohli, which we didn't enough. Not necessarily that
You never say enough about Virat
never
Kohli.
say enough
anyway.
about him, but what a year! I mean, in terms of picking up 3 ICC awards, the first player ever to do so, the top 3 awards.
Yeah. Inevitably, the winner of the ICC Cricket of the Year wins 2. He's either the Test Match Player of the Year or the ODI Player of the Year. But for Virat to win all 3, I mean, how much did he average in 1 day? In his last 10-11 games, averaging some 130. Yeah, he was averaging some silly numbers.
Well, I think that's going to put the golden year of 2018 in a bit of perspective. Test matches,
133 in a 1-day international series. I mean, Virat Kohli is going to look back at 2018 and want to hold on and pretend it never got over. And
unless 2019 gets better. But 55 in Test match cricket average, only India to score a Test 100 in South Africa, England and Australia in a calendar year. And a calendar year where South Africa and England didn't quite go that well for the team overall. So that just shows how well he's done.
And personally, Zach, he'd be delighted by the runs he scored in England. I think if you ask him, among all these, what did you feel most satisfied by? Of course, he'll say the series win in Australia. But as a batsman, England.
And looking at how he had the earlier series, so he was so determined, and that's something with Virat has always been the case, isn't it? We feel that okay, now he's had a brilliant year, but he's saying to himself that I'm going to get better than this, and that's something which has been the hallmark of his whole career. He's someone who always been saying. When he started his career, no one thought that he's going to have such a long run of consistency, and which just shows that he has always challenged himself. He's always been setting new goals, and he has evolved as a player over the years, and that process has not stopped. You feel that okay, now this is what we're going to see, but that 100 in Perth. And difficult conditions, I think that 100 was right up there, and every time we are seeing that okay, he's done it all, and he just keep raising the bar.
Well, 2016 was a good example. He had a fabulous year. At the end of the year, we were saying, wow, golden year, Virat Kohli.
He almost scored
top
1,000
that.
runs in the IPL.
Exactly.
Without playing all these exotic shots. But 2018, spicy tracks in South Africa, not easy batting tracks in South Africa. Duke's ball was doing a lot in England this year. Dukes did a hell of a lot in England this year. That's 8 Test matches there where the bowlers had chances. Of the he played 11, 12 Test matches or 30, whatever in the year. Of those 8 were in difficult batting conditions. So that is why I think he will value what he did in Test match cricket more than anything else. There's one other thing I've noticed with Virat, except for a brief moment in Perth, when you got the feeling he was going at Tim Payne a little bit. He's looking much calmer on the field. Even off the field, I get the impression he's a little calmer. So I just wonder if that's helping him as well. Virat is always a little on the edge sometimes. Whatever, he's looking a little calmer this time. I think he's comes with the age, comes with the achievement.
He's driven. He's always driven, and he has always been wanting to better himself. So there is no doubt that he is changing this side as well to find that right balance in terms of his aggression. That aggression is also now going forward is going to be a controlled aggression. Is what I feel, and looking at Australian series as well, that he enjoys that as well. That comes naturally to him. He likes to take on everyone. Be it the players on the field, be it people from outside who are criticizing him or throwing stuff at him. He's always up for the challenge.
Yeah, I mean, he made some great hundreds this year. The 100 in Birmingham, the 100 in Centurion. But that Perth 100, other people are struggling to score runs, and he made 100. Even that England series, he made 590 runs in England.
593.
Nobody was close. Nobody was close to the 590 runs. So he ticked off another box. Before going, we said moving ball, England outside. He's ticked off. I mean, he comes out to bat in limited overs cricket, and you think he won't get out. I mean, for all you know, today might get out second ball. You never know. but he just looks like he won't get out. If he gets past 20, you think, Aaj Soban, he'll go next 100.
Yeah. So which of the A's are you finally attributing to age, achievement?
Go on.
Anushka. It had to come. It had to come. It's not one of those sensationalist comments anymore.
It's like asking Zach, seam, swing.
It's coming, it's coming. Come on, look at the smile. Look at the
He's
smile.
on toes. I'm liking the fact that how
This
he's
is the Aussie
connected
effect, is
A
it?
to S.
Correct.
Or you're saying it's the Aussie effect, the sledging still continuing.
Yeah, he's in touch.
No, but I think each of those. I think he's calmer, he's happier in life. I said in Australia when they were trying to ask me questions about Virat, I said more than anything else, he's a man in love at the moment. He's a man in love and he's a very driven cricketer, but I don't know which is coming first at the moment. But neither is bad. Both are beautiful, so it's nice.
But even if you say that, he's always been a man in love with the game, period. And that's what always comes through. The passion, even at a time when maybe critics would say he's been maybe stepping over the line with a few things he said. It was all because of the passion at the end of the day, and he realized he has to rein it in. He's a role model for every youngster growing up.
Well, everyone has to figure out that success formula, and then once you figured that out, you have to be brave enough to stick to that, and that's something which Virat has been dealing with, and especially with regard to his aggression on the field. He's been criticized for his over aggression or that crossing that line on the field right from day one, I think. So that's something which he has stood by, and that's once again a great quality to have, because you at this level cannot move away from your natural instincts. You have to always back your natural instincts, and you have to stick to the formula which has got you success. So that's something which Virat has been standing by, and has been having that great belief in terms of going out there and proving people and the critics wrong by performing on the field. As a cricketer, that's the attitude you should have, and the best way to silence everyone is by just going out there and performing. You do your business. People who are talking about you or passing remarks are doing their work.
I think the key being your own formula. We often equate it to the whole John McEnroe principle, where unless he broke a racket, he wouldn't be feeling good about himself. And recently, a couple of days ago, in the Aussie Open, Sasha Zverev was doing something similar, and he said at the press conference straight after an interview with John McEnroe that you remember that guy, the American who used to do it. I just was not feeling good about myself. I broke my racket a few times, served 3 aces after that with a different racket.
But I don't think Virat Kohli will break a bat, because the original master will send him a message saying the bat is your key to your future, respect it, never break it. He told one of the Indian players, right? You never throw your bat, you never break your bat, because that takes you where you're talking about Sachin, of course.
Of course.
Yeah. So,
but the way he used to look after his kit was something special. He knew exactly the shape of the bat. He would clean it. He would spend he would nurture all his equipment to make sure that these are the equipments which are gonna get you success, and so you got to respect that.
Yeah, certainly do. I remember recently in the Caribbean doing an interview with Shimron Hetmeyer, who comes across as a bit of a brash young man, but when he talks about, any time you ask him about his bat, he said, "This is not a tool I play with, this is my friend." And whenever he goes everywhere, you see he just carries the bat under his shoulder. Even when he's going for nets, it's not something he just chucks into a kit bag. He always says, "My bat is my friend." And
it'll be interesting. Some of us were privileged to have seen Sachin evolve. We saw Rahul Dravid evolve. We saw Lakshman having his big years, sort of. But we'll say we were around when Virat Kohli attained greatness. There's no doubt at all. In the white ball game, you can say there's Rohit Sharma. In the red ball game, you can say there's Pujara. But Kohli is charting a new course all by himself.
Coming back to Napier for a brief moment, seems obvious to say it, but is this just a mere formality, or do New Zealand's 4 pacers have some say in this matter at the moment?
Well,
just too little to play with.
Doesn't matter how little the score is, you got to start well. You got to lay that foundation. You cannot give opponent a chance now. And when will an opponent get a chance in a match like this? When you have a great start, when you have Train Bolt running in, knocking couple over, and then suddenly the pressure is on. So that's something which you don't want to see. So the owners will be on the openers to go out there and make sure that they ticked that box nicely. That first 10 overs when there is going to be Saudi bowling from the from one end, Trent Bolt bowling from the other end, looking to swing the ball. You have 2 new balls from both the ends, so that first 4 overs, 5 overs phase is very, very crucial. When you're starting a chase, doesn't matter what the total is.
Add a bit of pace from Lockie Ferguson. Spinners have shown that there's a little bit, if anything, and they've only got Mitchell Santner to exploit that. I think they would have liked to have seen Ish Sodhi maybe seeing what the wrist spinners did.
But Gautam, we all know after the first innings the team is very easy to pick. But we don't know what's going to happen in the first innings. So they went in with 4 quicks. Before we said their balance was not bad actually. They had 1 spinner. They actually batted down to number 9. But wrist spin does funny things to people if they can't read it coming out of the hand. What this means is that there's no pressure on India's batsmen to get off to a start. They can play themselves in. I think Shikhar needs a score. If Shikhar can get a 60-70 here, then that'll be good. Rohit's got some runs behind him, but Shikhar and Raidu, I think those are 2 need a score. Hopefully it won't get as far as Raidu, but Shikhar needs a score.
Yes, certainly will. And we're not sure if Raidu's changed the spelling of his name or if it's just somebody in New Zealand who's done that. But for the moment, let's just remind you, New Zealand 157, and the last time they had such a low score in the last 3-4 years at home was 112 all out against South Africa. Otherwise, they've never performed like this at home, and it took the Indian wrist spinners to reduce them to 157. Much more to come still on Cricbuzz Live as we wrap up what happens at the end of the match, but we'll be back in the 15th over of the Indian innings with Cricbuzz Combox.